Hello, 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 Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. My name is Renee Garcia, guys, and this is TransurfingTV. And I've been really excited to talk about this subject for the last couple of weeks. I've been kind of thinking about how I'm going to really just relay to you my own experience with coming to understand the value of defying the standards of the pendulum. This has been enlightening beyond anything else, any other work really that I've ever done with the transurfing modality, because I had to do a number of things in a way that I hadn't done before. Like trusting my world, trusting myself, trusting that the knowledge, reality transurfing, as presented to us, that it's real and it works. Because defying the standards of pendulums really is not for the faint of heart. You're kind of like, remember that game, that trust game where you would like fall backwards and people would catch you? It's usually done in like team building exercises and things like that. Well, this is exactly what defying the standards of the pendulums around me. This is what it's been like for me. Falling backwards and trusting that the knowledge will catch me, that my world will catch me, that the community that I'm intended to connect with will catch me and understand exactly what it is that I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And this is really, I think, this is the meat on the bone here. This is the reward for myself, what it is that I'm doing and why I'm doing it, so I can extend to you all the lesson that I'm essentially trying to display to you in being like the first penguin to jump off the iceberg to see if the shark is good, if the sharks are there. This is exactly what it's about. And I have come here to tell you today, again, defying the standards of the pendulum is absolutely not for the faint of heart. It is advanced reality creation stuff. It isn't something that you should necessarily attempt to do in a very big way when you first start out with reality transurfing. It's taken me 6 years and also my entire life to gather up the courage to the extent that I feel ready to actually defy the standards and absorb whatever is going to come in my direction as a result of defying these standards. There's a lot of good, but there's also some craziness. And I'm not going to say it's bad, because it's in my world, in my layer of reality, it's preparing me for bigger and better things, and understanding that when you really do move through this space as a person, as an individual, an entity that is going to challenge the conventional way of thinking, you are going to come up against forces and energy and people and pendulums that are going to try to get you to file your place back in line. And I'm here to tell you that it's all good. Every aspect of it, every single aspect. Now, there are times where I do feel that free fall feeling, and I'm like in a free fall state. And I'm like, oh shit, I hope my world's gonna catch me. But my world continues to catch me, and I continue to catch myself. And what I'm going to speak to today is the benefits from doing this. The benefits from doing this, because the benefits have been this has been enlightening beyond anything that I could have ever dreamed it would have been. And in my opinion, doing this is where reality creation is the most fruitful, the most benefit will come your way is in defying the standards of the pendulums. Before I go a little more into the lesson, please like this video, subscribe to this channel, comment below, join us on Facebook, course links below, Mo Money and Becoming Magnetic out soon, if not out right now, but check below to see if the links are there. And follow me on Instagram, reality_transurfing. Okay, so I don't know how I arrived here. I think it was probably the relationship with Vadim and how he was continuing to try to like get me to see things his way and do things his way. And I was doing this for a while. I was doing this for a long time. I would continue to bend my perspective or my modus operandi to fit into his standards. And at a certain point, I just kind of stopped myself and I started to consider, well, wait a second. Isn't this exactly what the knowledge is trying to help us to understand? That this modus operandi doesn't serve us, right? This is you allowing a reality to be created for you. And I had started to feel very much as though Vadim Zeland had created my reality for me and told me how exactly I was supposed to operate and act and think within this set version of reality that he had set up. So I was like, you know what? This is my test. This is my test here. And it's time for me to actually do the work and separate from the ultimate pendulum in my life. Now, remember, when I say pendulum, and I am calling out reality transurfing for me as being the most insane pendulum that I've ever gotten involved in. It really, really has been mind-blowing for me to engage with this knowledge, create a pendulum, reality transurfing, fuel it with all the stuff I'm doing, also become an adherent to the pendulum because of standards set around me. And I kind of felt as though like, okay, this is it. This is my moment where it's like the rubber meets the road. Are you going to allow this reality to be created for you, Renee, or are you going to create your own and defy the standards of the pendulum? So the biggest defying moment of my life was defying the Vadim Zeland pendulum and telling him essentially that I was not going to play the game anymore, which he absolutely did not like. So what does that mean exactly, defying the standards of the pendulum? What this means is that you are with full lucidity bringing yourself to your center screen, your center place of awareness. I see myself, I see my reality, I see exactly what's playing out here right now. Does this serve me and my intentions? Is the pendulum getting more from me than I'm getting from the pendulum? Is this the reality that I'm choosing, or is one being chosen for me? The standards which confine you to the pendulum's rule or the version of reality that suits the pendulum are the exact things that keep you in line and keep you in a position where you don't feel comfortable or safe going beyond those boundaries. For me, this was mainly based around my creative process and also going against certain things that my heart was calling me to do because the pendulum didn't want me to, for political reasons and for reasons that were serving the pendulum, right? But my heart was calling me to do specific things, so I was having to tune out of the voice of my heart and sort of ratchet up the voice of my mind to adhere to the standards of the pendulum, the standards that were being set for me, and curb my creativity, right? Curb my creativity, turn the volume down on that, really be cautious and aware that I wasn't going to aggravate the pendulum, and again, simply file my place back in line. So what defying standards means is, again, opening yourself up to your own way of doing things, opening yourself up to your own process, stepping beyond the parameters that have been set around you to the extent, and I know this is not for everyone, but this has absolutely been for me, to the extent that the only way in which I could gain a sense that I had ventured on beyond those boundaries was to actually aggravate the pendulum and to see the pendulum flare up in a way that was indicative of exactly what the pendulum did not want to see transpire, did not want to see me move in that specific direction. So it was kind of like the more the pendulum flared, the more I defied the standards and the pendulum flared. And when I say pendulum, I don't only mean Vadim Zeland, I also mean the community, right? Me getting in front of the camera, I'm like dancing and saying stuff and acting in ways like on my Instagram or on YouTube or saying things in the Facebook group, doing things that people were like, okay, what the hell is Renee Garcia doing? Why is she acting like this? Vadim Zeland had sort of called it the new way and was talking against me to other people, saying, why is Renee Garcia doing this new way, right? So this was my clue, this was my key that I was onto something and that I had indeed moved beyond those standards to the point where I was getting visual and verbal communication back that I had touched on a line, okay, that I had violated a boundary. So how did this hurt me exactly in not approaching those boundaries? This is me, again, filing my place back in line, adhering to the standards set by something else for their own intentions that may not have benefited me or my intentions. Again, curbing my creativity, turning the volume down on my heart, turning the volume up on my mind. All of this stuff is anti-reality creation city, right? This is exactly what we do not want to do as reality creation artists. So the ways in which this previous behavior and acknowledging those boundaries and making certain that I did not ever approach them is exactly what the intention that I set to to break through that. And oh my God, again, enlightenment like I'd never felt before, and not for the faint of heart, but so unbelievably valuable and beneficial. So how defying the standards has helped. And I know I'm being a little bit redundant here, but this is absolutely where the magic of this modality actually is understanding that, one, you not only have the ability to do this, the power to do this, the power to create your own standards, the power to absorb the energy that comes back in your direction from stepping over one of those boundaries, but also coming to learn that all of the threats from the pendulums around you really don't exist. They're kind of like empty threats, if you will. Now, if you have a 9-to-5 job and you just decide that you're going to defy the standards of the pendulum and you're going to walk into the office one day naked, you absolutely are going to get fired, right? There are consequences in a specific sense that you absolutely will need to respect and pay attention to. But when it comes to a creative process, when it comes to building something, when it comes to moving in the direction of your intention and meeting outer intention with your highest and best and actually fulfilling the order that's brought up to you, I swear to God, you can do no wrong. You can do no wrong. A pendulum cannot touch you when your heart is in the right place and you're moving through that flow that you have set up for yourself, encountering the things that your world is extending to you, and you're simply taking the ball and running with it. Now, pendulums are going to fall off. Pendulums are going to be aggravated. Pendulums are going to try to knock you off. You're going to get feedback from your reality that is definitely going to be a little bit uncomfortable at first. I'm not going to lie to you. It absolutely is not for everyone at whatever stage you're in your reality creation process. But encountering this sort of energy and this sort of material and information is like you leveling up. It's you sort of like, imagine a video game and you find the mushroom and you eat half of it and you get bigger, because the more you're able to push beyond the standards, defy them, and see that reality ultimately does not care. Now, again, in circumstances like the 9 to 5, it will care, but in most ways it doesn't care. And all I have really encountered is just people saying, Renee, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be doing that. But there's never actually a consequence. It's simply a passive threat for me to file my place back in line. So I, keep feeding the pendulum what it wants. This is you taking absolute control for yourself over your environment, over your reality, and just being like armoring up and saying, okay, I'm doing what I'm doing because my heart and mind are telling me it's the right thing to do. Outer intention keeps bringing me the things that I need in order for me to continue down the vector of the flow that I have set. And it's either this reality that I've chosen, or it is continuing to serve the reality of the pendulum and adhering to the standards that it has set for me. So a couple of secrets. Again, nothing's going to happen to you. If you remember what Vadim Zeland says in Reality Transurfing steps 1 through 5, pendulums can't stand individuality, but once a person is truly coordinated in heart and mind, and they have declared it okay for themselves to be different, defy the standards, the pendulum has no choice but to make that individual a star. So it's kind of like this weird sort of, you get to this place where it's like you're in some sort of initiation phase. You've got to defy the standards of the pendulum set before you. And once you have shown yourself ready, willing, and able, creatively, with what outer intention's bringing you, going against the desires of the others in your reality, doing something that others may consider outlandish or out there, whatever it is, once you have shown up for that part and you are solid and your intention is pure in that aspect, the pendulum has no other option than to pick you up and catapult you towards that version of reality that you have chosen. It is like a freaking magic trick. Lastly, the fear of what other people think. This has been one of my biggest challenges in life, being concerned what others think about me. And getting over this alone, I feel as though the road is absolutely wide open now. I can do whatever the fuck it is that I want to do, and nobody is going to stop me. Now, I might come up against energy. I might come up against people saying you shouldn't do that. I might come up against people saying a lady doesn't act like that, or why would you conduct yourself like that, or whatever. But remember, all this sort of feedback from your environment is you leveling up. The more you can take of that and defying the standards of pendulums and being able to just look at that feedback as a product of that exact act of defying the standards of the pendulum, the more you can do that, the more you are on your own path and the less you are being consumed, pendulum food, by the pendulum. I know I have said this a couple of times and people don't like it when I say it, but it's true. You either eat and you become your own pendulum and you make your own standards and you eat the energy that's around you, or you get eaten and you are adhering to the standards of the pendulum and are the pendulum food, feeding the pendulum your energy, being concerned with what the pendulum thinks of you. You set the tone. You create the standards, defy the pendulums, and see that it absolutely is okay, and you can do this, and it is magical, and it does work, and it's very liberating, and it's super fun, and I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. Okay, so I hope you like this video. Remember all the links below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.